You ever notice how some people always have something to say about everyone? Who is stupid, who is wasting their life, who is cringe, who is successful for no reason, who changed, who fell off, who became fake. It never ends. And at first it looks like intelligence, like awareness, like they understand people. But after a while, you realize something darker. People who constantly analyze others are often running from themselves, because judging other people creates distance from your own reality. For a few seconds, your brain feels above something, cleaner, smarter, safer. That's why people gossip so naturally. It's psychological relief. If attention stays on everyone else, nobody asks what's happening inside you. And modern life turned this into an entire culture. Now people wake up and immediately enter other people's lives. Celebrities, influencers, drama, opinions, comments, failures. Millions of people studying lives they'll never live while slowly abandoning their own. That's the disturbing part. A person can spend years becoming an expert on human behavior without understanding themselves at all. They know every social pattern, every manipulation tactic, every psychological term. But alone at night, they still can't control their habits, still can't sit with themselves peacefully, still repeat the same destructive cycles. Because knowledge about humans is not the same as self-awareness. Self-awareness is violent. It ruins the story you built about yourself. You start noticing uncomfortable things. How often you lie to yourself. How much of your personality is performance. How many of your opinions come from insecurity instead of truth. That's why most people avoid genuine self-observation. Not because they are stupid, because the ego protects itself aggressively. Humans want honesty, until honesty threatens their identity. And once somebody realizes this, they understand something terrifying about society. Most conversations are not actually about truth. They are about emotional positioning. People judge to feel elevated, mock to feel protected, criticize to avoid their own inadequacy. That's why deeply judgmental people are rarely peaceful internally. A secure person doesn't obsess over strangers constantly. Think about it. A person truly focused on building themselves usually has less energy to dissect everybody else. Their attention is occupied. Growth takes concentration, but insecurity creates spectators. That's why the internet feels spiritually exhausting. Millions of people watching each other instead of living. Everybody reacting. Few people reflecting, and eventually people lose contact with themselves completely. They know what society thinks, what trends think, what algorithms reward, but they no longer know what they genuinely think underneath all the noise. That's a dangerous way to live, because a person disconnected from themselves becomes easy to influence. They absorb opinions quickly, compare constantly, judge automatically, not because they are evil, but because they lost inner stability. And without inner stability, people build identity through reaction. That's why silence scares so many humans. Silence removes distractions, and once distractions disappear, the mind finally meets itself. That encounter changes everything, because underneath all the judgment, most people are carrying unresolved conflict with themselves. The harshest critics often carry the harshest inner voices. The people mocking weakness are often terrified of their own. The people obsessed with appearances are usually fragile underneath them. Humans project themselves constantly. Most don't even realize it. That's why maturity is not learning how to judge people better. It's learning how to see yourself clearly without escaping. That requires something rare. The ability to sit alone with your own patterns without immediately blaming the world for them. Very few people do that honestly. That's why very few people truly change. Because transformation begins the moment attention stops obsessing over others and finally turns inward long enough to confront reality. Not the reality of society, your reality. The habits you keep protecting, the excuses you repeat, the distractions slowly eating your life. That's the real battlefield, not other people, you. And the people who understand this deeply usually become quieter, less reactive, less obsessed with judging strangers, because they realize something profound. A human being can spend their entire life studying everyone else while remaining completely unknown to themselves.